because he was much more progressive in his views about race and society than most of his contemporaries. But as a military and political leader, he was a failure. He should be not studied as the politician who did good, because he totally underestimated the size of this inclination in the South for secession. He didn't understand that the South really had some legal title to secede from the Union. He was thinking to the very end, to the brink of war. He was convinced that the Unionists in the southern state will not let many states to go and secede from the Union. And he was totally bluntly wrong. He couldn't even secure the safety of Washington DC. Across the Potomac they had Virginia state, and the state of Virginia was of course one of those states about which Lincoln was absolutely convinced that they would not revolt, and they did revolt. So he didn't do anything for the very safety of the town. There was a very big problem. So he was not understanding the situation well. He was putting his personal beliefs first. And by the way, personal beliefs. He is very often portrayed as an honest ape. Honest ape. He was as if he were honest, but he was not. He always gave, he had a very political habit, typical for politicians, a habit of presenting a small doses of his views in order to secure more backup for them. So he was like typical politicians, lying, no problem. So I don't even say that it's a fault. It's a problem, but it's a problem with calling him honest ape. It's not a problem for him to be a bad person. Sometimes a politician has to lie, but because he have to secure his own career in order to do something productive, right? When they are not successful in their careers, they cannot do anything productive. So it's like neutral, right? Lying for the politicians not in serious matters. It's neutral, but he was not an honest ape. He was not a person who would be honest, and then he would be more honest than securing the backup of his political visions, right? By making hyperboles and so on. So he was making hyperboles. He was lying when necessary, and he was also. But the bigger problem is putting his own visions first, and not the security of the land, of the United States of America, because he was totally not gripping the situation. He also scared the hell out of the South and solicited the brink of war, because he has enlisted like 70,000 volunteers. A little bit too, this movement, it was a little bit rush. So it was a signal for the South that he is going to war, so against them. So they did the same, they of course did the same very quickly as they could, and the army that they have were creating in the Virginia. By the way, Virginia was one of those states who would say he was thinking that they will never revolt, and of course he didn't secure Washington because Virginia is right across the Potomac. So she was totally exposed in as far as security is concerned, and so he could be held prisoner, right? So yeah, so he was not very. He was also not he was not a very good tactician. He was not a very good political mastermind. He was not very practical man. He was more an idea man than practical man, and it's not a very good quality for a president, I would say, to not be able to reconcile the ideas with practicality, right? And so he didn't understand the South. He was totally overestimating the strength of the Unionists in the South. He was not securing Washington very well. He didn't understand his country really. He